Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here are your hosts, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, and I am joined again today after all of his shenanigans by, the George to my Jerry, Brian E. Roach. What's going on, Brian?
I might be able to live with that, but probably not because I'm not bald.
Would you rather be Kramer?
Yes!
You're probably more like Kramer. I'm probably more like George, to be completely honest.
I'll accept that. And life is wonderful and good.
It is. Life is mostly good. There's a reason for my little comparison today, because much like Seinfeld, the Steel City Underground podcast is a show about nothing. At least this one will be, because there's not a whole lot going on. Well, there's a little bit going on. We got a couple things. We got some housekeeping, some things going on the website, around the website, the social medias, everything else. Brian, why don't you tell all of our fine listeners about the March of Dimes drive/contest that's going on?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. We did this for the first time last year, and we had a lot of fun. We gave away a full-size Rocky Bleier helmet last year. And this year we're offering up a autographed Troy Polamalu jersey. And the basis of this is if you want to read the full story, go over to the website and find the post titled Emily's Story. And you can read about my daughter who was born premature, spent a lot of time in the hospital, and benefited from programs that the March of Dimes helped fund the research on. So for the past 17 years, we've done this every spring, where we dedicate our time, our efforts to helping support the March of Dimes, because they gave us a gift beyond compare in my lovely daughter, Emily. So, this year, the way it works is you make a donation to the March of Dimes on, a specific page, and you comment Steel City Underground in the comments. For every $1 you're donated, you're entered into the contest, the drawing to win this signed Troy Polamalu jersey. And the contest goes on from now until April 29th, which is the date of the March of Dimes March. That night, we do the random drawing, and somebody gets a great prize. So it's a great cause, great benefit, great prize, and you can feel good about yourself after doing it.
Yeah, and we have the shortcuts for all of that stuff, just real handy for listeners, something you could remember. It is steelcityunderground.com / one of those slashes, /Cordell Stewart. No, steelcityunderground.com /March of Dimes, and you could read Emily's story. It's linked off of that, as well as details on how you could donate for this wonderful effort that means an awful lot to Mr. Roach here, and of course, his daughter Emily. It's I'm more than gracious and actually humbled to be able to offer up our platform to help allow drive more donations for this cause. So, and then Brian, of course, donating not only his time but also a few great prizes as well. So, and not to be confused, the March of Dimes, while starting this on March 1st, it's technically not a March only thing. So this will go through until next month when they have the actual march for the March of Dimes, like an actual march. Think of it like a band or an army or whatever it is that you think of there. So, also things going on in March Madness around the corner here with the NCAA tournament. Not to be left out in the dark, our cheesy and corny brains over at Steel City Underground came up with a tournament for the best NFL jersey. We currently have that underway over on the site. There will be a post every day the month of March. So be sure to look for that. And I think That might be stillcityunderground.com/March Madness. I'm trying to remember what the heck it was now. That might be it. You could try that one, but it's there every day. You can't miss it, and it's cross-linked to all of the other wackiness. So we're going to try and take some fan votes there. There's a poll, and compare everyone's jerseys and see who wins. Probably the Steelers, I would guess.
I would be willing to bet large portions of dollars, not full dollars, but portions of dollars, that would be the case. This week, it's the Browns and the Eagles. So that's kind of a gimme.
Well, that's the first one. Yeah, and the way, and you know what? It's a very convoluted, complex. I use the draft order. I use the way that they're going to draft. And you know what? The Browns have 2 picks. They don't get to enter this twice. So Houston gets back in this. Kansas City gets back in this, where they would have finished had they been in the draft. And there's like a reverse order, and then it's put in the order of an actual tournament like the NCAA thing. And I've talked way too much about this already, but that's the reason why it's the Eagles and the Browns, because the Eagles are the top seed, having won the Super Bowl, and the Browns are the bottom seed, having won nothing. So...
To jump back to our original topic, because
Yes.
I just got this notification as we started this, I just want to give the quick shout out to Tamara Skolnick, who is our first donator to the March of Dimes contest.
This show isn't even live, but it sounds like a live telethon the way you just presented that. It's quite amazing.
It's awesome. So she rocks, and that's Steelers Nation. Come on.
So, yeah, speaking of Steelers and football, who am I kidding? This is still more off-the-field garbage, but it does pertain to the team. Sean Davis, this bullying thing that came out, of course, all the gossip and rumor mill and everything else. If you want to read something official about this from Sean Davis's legal team, we got the exclusive scoop over on the website. It was just posted yesterday. His legal team actually getting in touch with myself personally, and we put that up on the website to address any of the nonsense or whatever. Well, they'll get to the bottom of it. It's a legal thing. I care not to even opine on it. Just the things that happen in this world sometimes. There's things we could agree on, disagree on, split the difference or otherwise, but sometimes, I don't know, I just shake my head when I see some of these things that come out. So if you want to read the official statement from Sean Davis's legal team as it pertains to pretty much saying, nah, this doesn't hold water. So there's some other things going on. Kevin Colbert had an interview at the Combine. There's some Combine things. There's competition committees meeting. Oh, wait. This is a perfect opportunity for my PSA, my public service announcement of Jesse caught it. They're saying the Des Bryant catch. Yeah, Megatron caught it. Des Bryant caught it. Why aren't they saying Jesse caught it? I tell you what, I talk to my cousin. This is almost every other day. Some of you follow my personal Twitter account. I use the hashtag Jesse caught it. I'm not giving up on this thing, folks. I am never going to get over this, because that was the most absurd thing I'd ever seen. And now I see there's like a 30 for 30 with the Des Bryant thing and the catch. I'm rolling my eyes at it. We need a 30 for 30 for Jesse caught it. I may start off every show from here going on saying Jesse caught it. I firmly believe Jesse caught it.
I can't disagree with you, because Jesse caught it.
That's a very Kramerish response from you. So, oh man,
if I could do an impersonation, I would try, but I don't have that ability.
I'm out there and they're free, Jerry. I don't do a good Kramer. I don't have a good Kramer. I just, man, you know what? There's some people who didn't like that show. There's some people who are probably like, "What is that? Yeah, what's a TV show?" Like with some of these young kids that we have to deal with, Eric, and then so yeah, yeah. Who was Neil O'Donnell? I mean, we got some young fans in the fan base. It's okay though. I mean, I didn't grow up with the 70s Steelers. I was born in '81, so I missed all that. But I relive vicariously through recounts and retellings of those players' stories, highlights, NFL films, and the whole 9 yards there. So at least I know who these people are, sometimes. And now I'm not saying Eric doesn't know who Neil O'Donnell is, but there are some people on the interwebs that I communicate with on a frequent basis who feel they have an opinion on the Pittsburgh Steelers and absolutely know nothing about them. And some of those people are gracious enough to text me or call into the hotline here too. So I just care to protect the guilty by not mentioning their name on the air. However, there's some other absurd things going on, Brian. A lot of people are really caught up in this thing that's happening this weekend in Indianapolis, Indiana. It might be the most exciting football thing that's happened in Indiana, but as far as I'm taking a shot at the Colts there. Well, I don't know. The Josh McDaniels thing was pretty no, that wasn't exciting for them, but it was some excitement. Otherwise, the Colts haven't really done anything of much to note. But yeah, there's a scouting combine going on there, and everyone is just they're freaking out over this. They're like, oh my god, and this guy does this, and this guy has he weighs 700 pounds and is 10 feet tall and it could shoot lightning bolts from his butt. And that's what we're finding out this week. And wait, whoever that guy is, I need him drafted. Well, you know what? Well, that was Dan McCullers minus the lightning bolts, but just if Dan McCullers could shoot lightning bolts out of his butt, he would do better than he's doing. So if there is a guy at I need to watch that drill. They went. Well, the blockers would not try to swim him in reverse. That's one thing. Not at all. Just keep that guy facing you. I don't want to get struck by lightning. But here's some of the absurd things. I'm almost in troll mode when it comes to the combine because it was Zach Meckler shared with us offline earlier. We were having this discussion, myself and Brian, and it was Aaron Rodgers, 6'2", 223 pounds, 9 3/4 inch hands, and Lamar Jackson, also 6'2", 216, just a little lighter. He's been working out. At 9.5 inch hands, and it's just like, what was my response to that? Yeah, they both suck. No, it's just my response was Blake Bortles, 6'5", 236, 9 3/4 inch hands, or Brock Osweiler, 6'7", 240, 9 7/8 inch hands. This is just madness to me. Do you make any sense of some of this stuff? Well, remember, my response was, if only hand size equated to talent, which it does not. Well, what's it equate to? Big gloves. That's what it equates to having giant hands. I mean, look, clearly, if you have big hands, it may give you a benefit in gripping the ball. It may not. It may give you an additional assistance in trying to grab a pass if you're a receiver. It may not. I don't think there's any, provable statistics that say this, which is the thing about the combine. And you and I were talking about the combine is stupid. Well, it's for fans. It is the best things that are in the combine for the teams are the medicals and the interviews. And Kevin Colbert said exactly that thing. The only thing they care about is the medicals and the interviews, the face-to-face with the individual, so they start to get a sense of who they are and making sure they're going to be healthy enough to draft. Beyond that, it's like a beauty pageant except weird. Oh, that's perfect, man. It really is like a beauty pageant. You got these thoroughbreds out there. Now, Billy Price, I guess, got hurt, one of the top center prospects. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Our Buckeye guy, because, I was just thinking about this. I'm still into my New Year's mode, even though it's March 1st. I've been hitting the weights, and I hit them heavy for the first time in a while last night, and I am sore. So I can't imagine these guys are trying to throw up this isn't like, if you want to go somewhere March 1st, you know what's going on this weekend? The Arnold down in Columbus, Ohio. You could go there and see the strong men. You could see these guys do amazing feats of which they train for. Or you could go to Indianapolis, enter some lottery to get a free ticket to stand next to a bunch of other guys and watch college kids maybe bench press 3 times, depending on who they are. I got something for you. I got something up on my screen. If somebody only does 3. Really, 3?
Is that a kicker?
Well, you know what? It could, and I know we're making fun of the combine, and you didn't watch the Olympics too much, but I don't know if you saw the Olympic skier. I think she's actually American, but there was some like loophole with her grandparents or something being from Hungary.
Yes,
and she got to represent them. And what was it? It's not slope style. It's the thing with the half pipe that Shaun White does, but it's with skis instead of a snowboard. She did the bare minimum because as long as she doesn't screw up, she gets there's a minimum score you start at, I guess, judging like 30 points or whatever, and she's never finished anything better in the world in any of these competitions, 13 out of 15th. So I actually don't mind if these guys, like you're hearing right now, who was it that said, was it Darnell that said he wasn't throwing at the combine, he's going to throw at his pro day, and these guys are doing these things tactically just the same way she did, as to not fail. You don't want to fall out of the higher you get drafted, the better you're going to get paid. That's one thing, even in the draft, the way the salaries are. But it's also one of these things where if you're a first-round draft pick, there's longevity. Teams they've scouted, more than likely they've scouted or looked at you, even maybe second-round picks that may have had a first-round grade. And that's why some of these guys get 2, 3, 4, and 5 chances in the NFL and still play 5, 6, 7 years, even though they really don't do anything, but maybe they're a bench player or a situational guy. I can understand if somebody wants to go up there and do the bare minimum on the bench instead of, hey, look at me, I could do this 23 times like this name I have this pulled up, Brian. I'm getting long-winded here, but bear with me. I got a surprise for you. Brian doesn't know. Like I said, this is a show about nothing. We really don't have notes for it today, but
we don't.
I have somebody that's up here on my screen. 6'1", 212, 9 3/8 inch hands, because that's important, especially for this. Top performer, bench press, 23 reps at their position, mind you. 23 reps, still pretty darn good for a bench press, especially, 6'1", 212. I mean, that's impressive to me. 41-inch vertical leap, 131-inch broad jump, and 4.06 seconds on the 20-yard shuttle. Clearly lighting the world on fire. That's 4. They did 7 of these combine events. 40-yard dash was a 4.43. The 3-cone and also the 60-yard shuttle. You got to be thinking, what a tremendous athlete. Not to take anything away from him, but Sammy Coates didn't catch a whole lot of footballs there for a long period of time.
Well, that's true. Hey, I got one for you.
Oh, all right.
Are you ready?
I didn't make you guess on this because it would have been impossible, but go for it.
All right. Now, this individual at the combine was a top combine performer in 4 of his categories. He had a 31-inch vertical jump. That was in the top 10 for his category. 115-inch broad jump, again, in the top 10. A 7.12 second 3-cone drill, again, top in his one of his top performances. And a top 20-yard shuttle. And a 40-yard dash of 5.11 seconds. What a stud.
5.11?
Top in 4 of his 5. That's a little slow, but you know what? 4 out of 5, he's the top performer.
5'11", I could do 5. I think I could do 5'11". Maybe I need a little bit of training, not like straight out of my chair right now. But seriously, like in my prime, I was doing sub 6. I mean, I'm not an NFL athlete by any means, but I was, still training and getting the cardio. And 5'11" has to be a D lineman.
This would be just a massive bum. Your favorite and mine,
Landry
the
Jones.
GOAT.
Yes.
The GOAT.
Yes.
Landry Jones.
Oh, my goodness. He looked like Forrest Gump running. Actually, not even that's an insult to Forrest Gump. He for those of you who have seen and remember Terminator 2, the Robert Patrick Terminator, the T-1000, the way he ran, real stiff as a board, like almost like his hands real straight, like he's like karate chopping the air. That's what Landry Jones looked like doing this. If you would have put a suit on him, you would have thought it was Rich Eisen running out there.
Yeah, a little slow, but the point I think we're trying. For example, let's just take the bench press, right, which is going on, I think, as we record today, and the bench press, is an endurance test more so than a feat of strength, and it's going to be different. An offensive tackle is kind of like you, okay? You're taller, your arms are longer, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be more difficult for you
I'm not a
as an
T-Rex.
offensive tackle, right? As an offensive tackle to do massive numbers of bench presses because you're working harder to push it a further distance. A guard, shorter, doesn't need to have those big arms, kind of like me, can rip out more maybe. So is it a true feat of strength? No, it's endurance. And it's going to be based on, think about when these guys are playing. Are they, pushing the guy in front of them 70 times in 30 seconds? No, it's a burst, right? So is the bench press truly an effective measure of anything important? I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost be, and I don't want to see anybody get injured by putting up like a max weight, and doing one of these things like trying to get a Guinness World Record like the strong men do, but
right.
That would almost be just as important to me that they're actually strong, because if you've got a guy, let's just say one of the linemen either side of the line, and they can't put up they can't bench let's say 225, or they can't even bench their body weight. Let's put it there. That's usually the hallmark for at least some semblance of strength. If you could at least do your own body weight. If you can't do your own body weight, then that might be alarming to me. And if the guy can do a substantial amount of weight, then I don't know. Years ago, do you remember Nick Eason? He used to play for the Steelers. He ended up going to the Cardinals and for a year or two as well. I think he was a defensive end. He may have even transitioned as an outside linebacker. I'm trying to remember. If the name doesn't, if he's not familiar,
no, I remember.
Do you remember? Yeah, he was a reserve guy, and we were at like some type of charity event. This was years ago, mind you, because he was still with the Steelers. So the Steelers would send like somebody. Not anybody super important, but somebody, so they could say, hey, there's a Pittsburgh Steeler here. And Nick Eason, it was shocked me when I was asking him about like working out type, bodybuilding, weightlifting and stuff like that. And he said, when you get to the pros, he said it was pretty much all on you. So if these guys already have it together with college, I mean, college is probably like a machine, just like high school, the 2-a-day type things. In the pros, it's, you're kind of on your own. You're out there doing the Debo thing or whatever. Sure, there's a weight room there or strength and training guys, but he said it was basically on you to do it. So even if you don't do the body weight, if you can't do it now, there's no hope for you going forward. Not to mention, you know what I mean? Most of these guys, I think they're out of that growing stage where you're not going to get any taller. You're not going to do this or that. That's all over with. You've hit puberty, and now, maybe, you just maintain or you get a little stronger. Or maybe you just have the money. You could afford, something better than a Planet Fitness membership, as opposed to on the college budget, which would be, actually, this is a good one. This is one that was brought to my attention the other day, and we're talking about athletic freaks and stuff like this. But this gentleman, he wasn't a top performer in any of the 7 things that he did. A 4.69 40-yard dash, 21 reps on the bench. He wasn't as fast. He couldn't jump as high maybe as Sammy Coates, or there were certainly other players in his category that were a lot either stronger or faster with everything. And this is great because I'm looking at the draft analysis. Now, this was a player taken by the Steelers recently, and they said, I like blank, but I don't think he's a great pass rusher. He's got some skills in his developing. I think he's going to end up being a much better player than he is right now. But I do think the Steelers are a pretty good fit for him. TJ Watt.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And it just blew my mind because I see some of those things. They have like the little polygon shaped things, and it shows, if you fill in most of the circle, you've like accomplished everything. And he is still fairly athletic. I think he's tremendously athletic. And Bud Dupree, based on his combine, wasn't exactly the best combine numbers. And I think Bud Dupree's really athletic too. So what was it? Jeremy Fowler, somebody I disagree with quite often, who is one of the Steelers beat writers for ESPN. He put out like a chart earlier today. He tweeted out It was a bunch of dots with combine performances, and the lower you are at the bottom was how fast your 40 time was. And then there's like this blue dot that's like in, it's outside the Milky Way galaxy. And you're looking at it, and he says, that blue dot right there represents Antonio Brown. That's why the scouting combine is absurd. And I said, wow, what a great topic for today.
Absolutely. Because I like that analysis or that analogy I gave earlier. It's beyond the interviews, beyond the medicals. It's a beauty contest with running in your underwear.
Yeah, running in the underwear. So we did speak about Landry Jones and his combine stuff. There's some people still out there, draft, quote, experts, trying to shove quarterbacks into that Steelers spot at the end of the first round. Mason Rudolph and even, yes, Lamar Jackson, with Mel Kiper Jr. saying he could be a /2.0. Speaking of Cordell Stewart, what are the odds of mentioning Cordell twice in the same show? Wow. I loved Cordell.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Cordell was great.
I know. I like, he rocked that number 10 like no one else could. No offense, Martavis.
He was fun. Cordell was fun. He brought a level of entertainment to the Steelers at a point in time when we didn't have it.
No, it's a shame too. He should have the Patriots. Still the Patriots. Tom Brady, bro. Yeah. Yells at cloud. Man yells at cloud. So
grumble.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy seeing that. I believe I'm polishing up an article actually where I'm adding some of that. I'm looking at some of these mock draft recaps. I'm still not quite into draft mode yet. I want to see who the Steelers are talking to this weekend, and then we could start identifying some people for the book. Hopefully we get this book out again this year. And but basically the positions of need that I see, Tina's got something coming about tight ends and saying how that's not a need. I agree with her. Quarterback definitely isn't a need. Nothing special teams. No long snappers this year, please. Kicker, punter, don't need any of those. I really think it's all defense again. I think we've talked about this, maybe not too much on this show yet, but linebackers and safeties, because man, there's no depth, and it even looks like maybe a safety or maybe two could be off of this roster before or after draft time, and they're going to need all the help they can get.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I want to say one thing about Mel Kiper, because it's what I tweeted. It's what I tweeted after that mock came out. Somebody please tell me the last time Mel Kiper got anything right.
Maybe when Skip Bayless did. Oh,
zing!
Two shots fired. That's the double barrel.
There you go.
Man, Skip, actually, I haven't minded. I listen to Skip and Shannon from time to time, and you know what? It's funny listening to their NBA takes and them either ripping on or defending LeBron. Skip is a shill for the Dallas Cowboys, which makes you hate him twice as much. I know, Brian, because you're far from the Cowboys thing, and yeah.
Grumble, man yells at cloud.
But yes, stop trying to give the Steelers quarterbacks. Stop trying to give us Johnny Manziel. We don't, us, as though I own the team. I always get caught in that trap. I yell at Terry about that all the time. We, us. But we, as a fan base, we don't want him. We don't. I don't even think Cleveland wanted him. Most of the Cleveland fans I knew did not want him. So,
Captain Kirk.
I'm not much to Trekkie. Give me Star Wars any day, and we're good to go. So,
well, good. But here's the thing on this quarterback issue. If Sam Darnold tumbles, if everybody, if every top quarterback fails to go, and the Steelers are at 28, and a potential franchise quarterback is sitting there, maybe they would do it. But you're not talking about the guy from Louisville. We're not talking about that other guy that you were talking about, who I can't remember his name. We're not talking about Baker Mayfield. We're talking about one of the top three guys, if they fell, 228. So the likelihoods of those things occurring are much greater than the likelihood of me winning the lottery. even though I never buy tickets.
Yeah, you kind of have to participate in order for, to have any chance whatsoever. So
it's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's like, hey, move up. Everybody thinks about the way the Steelers, they've worked to get Ben Roethlisberger, but they're in a far better position than they would be here to move up, and they don't have a need to, you know what I mean? They weren't rocking Tommy Maddox and going with guys like Jim Miller and Kent Graham and Cordell Stewart, and I'm probably missing someone else that's insignificant over that period of time. There's not the great need right there. Ben has already said, hey, I heart Randy Fichtner. I'm going to play until I'm using a walker and a cane.
Yeah, exactly.
He's completely had this miraculous healing turnaround, like when those healers on TV put their hands on you and oh, I can see. Oh, the pain is gone.
There's a description for the process that took place there. It's called a haleectomy.
Oh, I thought it was reanimation, but that's a close second, maybe. Haleectomy. That would be when you remove Todd Haley from one team's posterior, I believe.
Yes, exactly.
And now everyone can see why this is a show about nothing. So I think we're going to leave it at that. We're going to see what comes out of the combine, see who they talk to, because there's a bunch of names that we already have on our radar. What do we got? We got Alabama guys, right? Rashaan Evans, linebacker. That's somebody. Yep. The Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State.
Yep.
Harrison. What's Harrison's first name? Safety, Alabama. Ronnie Harrison.
Ronnie Harrison.
And I'm trying to think. There's another safety that's really sticking out, and we have no idea.
Derwin James, but he'll never be there.
Yeah, we have no idea where these guys are in the pecking order just yet, but look for some of those names to see if the Steelers end up talking or interviewing some of them. Some of this information's private. Some of it leaks publicly. So we'll see exactly. I think they get they're up to 30. I know 30 for the season. I think, is it 30 or is it 60 at the Combine? They get like an absurd number.
I don't remember. It's a lot more. It's a lot more at the Combine.
Yeah, and then of course the pre-draft visit thing is its own beast that's going to start up here soon too. So we're going to know who they start that ID, and then we could better tell you guys instead of just saying, oh, Darnell, Allen, Mayfield, and just start shouting names and a bunch of gibberish that means absolutely nothing to the Pittsburgh Steelers' future plans to win a Super Bowl in 2018.
No, I mean, if you're a fan and you want to watch the Combine and take your time to do so, that's fine. If you're going to look at the Combine, look at the linebackers and look at the safeties, because the Steelers, that's their area of need. Forget looking at quarterbacks, forget looking at pretty much every other position, unless, we have a much different discussion in about 13 more days, at which point maybe you can look at running backs.
Yeah.
But
couldn't avoid
but right
that
now,
today.
right now, look at linebackers and look at safeties. If you want to watch guys, that's the guys to look at. And forget about, who's going to be there or whatnot, because we're still too early to know who's going to go where. Other than Roquan Smith is going to go high probably, even if he has a cruddy Combine, because his tape is so good. Derwin James is probably going to go high, even if he has a cruddy Combine. And Minkah Fitzpatrick, we're not going to even have a sniff of him. But, that's the two positions of true need. If you want to look at what's there in the Combine, those are the times to tune in as a Steeler fan.
Absolutely. And you know what? Can't leave it off any better than that. So, folks, enjoy. If there's nothing else out there that, floats your boat, NBA games, NHL games. I know the Olympic things is over. Maybe there's NASCAR.
Go see Black Panther.
Yeah, you could go do that. I went and
see
saw
Black Panther.
I got to get out. I haven't even seen. I finally got to see Doctor Strange. I didn't get out to the theater for Civil War either. So it kind of sucks having a kid. I've seen them, but I had to wait until they were released on video because I don't do the whole let's watch somebody filming and somebody's head or thumbs in the picture in the back of the theater. So I don't do that whole deal like some people I know. I just don't get any enjoyment out of watching other people get up and find their seat in the middle of me watching a movie, including when I'm even there. So, but we're lucky now. The stadium seating, we got nice recliners. They finally remodeled our theater. I mean, it was only 50 years old or something. So it is now high class. But then the wife drugged me out to go see movie 50 Shades because we missed it on Valentine's weekend. And yeah, that's where my life is right about now. So maybe the Combine isn't a bad alternative now that I'm thinking about it. But
it's a good alternative above that weird 50 Shades movie that you just gave way more information about than we needed.
I absolutely said nothing else about it other than I went to eat the popcorn. I enjoyed the popcorn. I love it, and I got a free refill, and I had a bellyache afterwards. So, yeah, that's where it's at. So if you have some questions for us, folks, shoot them our way as we're reaching. Actually, we got quite a few things we are going to talk about, but it felt more relevant to slam the Combine today and also say Jesse caught it. Can I get hallelujah?
Yes.
Can I get
hallelujah? Hallelujah. Amen, brother. Amen.
I'm preaching it. I am preaching it. My name's Joe. His name's Brother Brian. Until next time, be safe, be good. We'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.